Now that silver is a little bit higher, could one say that silver is overvalued, or how do you look at things for people who are sitting there and facing a little bit of a different decision than a month or two ago?
The land of Arcadia.
Hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. Coming to you from my silver vault again here. And fortunately, I have my friend Rob Kientz of GoldSilverPros calling in. Rob just had quite a successful conference, so I'm glad he still remembers old Silvercrest here. And it's a pleasure to have you back on the show. Your conference was great, and maybe anything. Welcome, Rob. How are you?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, the conference was a lot of fun. It was a big success, and a lot of people enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun doing it. So also looking forward to yours here coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, well, that's right, Rob. You actually are a scheduled speaker at Silverfest. I believe you are going to break down some mining stocks. You might be which stocks do we want to look at when silver hits 50? Was that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so yep, and that will be September 11th, 12th, and 13th. And Rob, we'll look forward to talking about all sorts of silvery things there. Although in terms of today, this is going to be aired on Friday night. We're recording Thursday afternoon, but I will pull up the silver chart here. You can see at the moment, 2740-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, when silver's trading below the cost of production makes it a little bit easier to back up the truck. Now that silver is a little bit higher, could one say that silver is overvalued, or how do you look at things for people who are sitting there and facing a little bit of a different decision than a month or two ago?
I don't think silver is overvalued given the monetary demand that's come in. And I'll quote David Morgan here, one of the original silver gurus, who he talks all the time about silver trades at whatever it trades at industrially. But then when it gets monetary demand, the sky's the limit. And it's that marginal demand is the money demand coming in. So I don't think silver is anywhere near overvalued. You look at gold, the ultimate money metal is trading at its all-time high right now. It's been up above 2,000 several times over the last few weeks, setting all-time highs. Silver tends to follow and actually moves more violently when it does move. And that's exactly what we saw in silver. We seen over the last month, since my call on June 14th, silver was going to pop. It did, and it stayed up, and it touched on the $30 psychological line from a technical trading perspective. I think that's a temporary line. I think it'll go through it. The big thing to look out for silver traders is we have two big decision months coming up in silver on the futures markets. It was just one, but now a second one has appeared. So in September, we have a massive amount of open interest on the COMEX futures market, which just means longs and shorts battling it out for contracts. And I expect to have a lot of those longs to stand for delivery, meaning they're not going to want cash for their contract. They're going to want to take the silver off the market. And originally it was just September for silver and December for gold. But over the last few days, a massive amount of open interest has opened up in the December contract for silver as well. So there are two opportunities before the end of the year for silver to break that $30 line. I think it will, but I think we're going to see a lot of price volatility in silver going forward. So just expect that going forward if you're a silver investor. Just hold on to your positions. Don't try to trade it. It's going to move too quickly. It's going to swing too much. If you believe silver is in a long-term bull market like I do, I would just buy and hold it and sort of enjoy the ride that we're going to see over the next few months.
And Rob, perhaps you could dig, I guess, any topic, especially trading topics. There's all sorts of layers. But maybe if you could dig a little deeper into what you just said, because, I hear a lot of is there going to be a pullback? And, obviously, if you knew when there was going to be a pullback, well, that would make it a little bit easier. But since we don't know that until after it happens, if you could dig a bit more on what you just were saying about that, because I think it's that important right now.
So yeah, you can over time the pullbacks, and pullbacks do happen in a normal market. If you look at the silver chart, I think it went from $11 almost up to 30. It's due for some sort of technical correction, not a fundamental correction. The fundamental correction is when the fundamentals line up where people, aren't investing in silver as a monetary asset. That is occurring. So yeah, it could pull back $23, $24 an ounce. I mean, that's possible. Do I think it's going to stay there? No, I do not, because fundamentals are so strong. And one thing that I've been talking to my subscribers about over the last month is when you look at the futures trading, you have to pay attention to how many people are taking delivery, not selling for cash on these futures positions, but trying to take delivery of the silver. That's been extremely strong over the last few months. And that's an indicator people want physical silver. And the more that happens as a percentage of the overall trading on the futures market, the higher the price of silver is going to go. So yeah, it can retrace, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. Unless, in September, we see, no demand for physical silver on the futures market. If there's any demand whatsoever, that silver price is going up, and I think it's going to challenge $30. And we'll see here pretty soon. We'll see with the next few weeks. The way it works is the first delivery intent notice day is a couple of days before September starts. We'll see at the very end of August if a lot of people are coming in noticing that they want physical delivery on the COMEX. We'll know at the very end of August, first part of September, where that silver price is going to go.
Okay, Rob. So what will the price of silver be on Silverfest?
It would not surprise me if we're trading $29-30. You'll be a week into September. If we see a massive amount of people wanting delivery in silver, you could see $32-34. I mean, if you look at what happened in that June, July month, and people wanted delivery of silver on the futures market, it shot up from 19 to what, 28, $29. I mean, it wasn't quite a doubling, but it was what, a 75%. If that happens again in September, we actually have more open interest in September than we did in June and July. Oh yeah, it could easily pop, $30, $32. And that's conservative. It could go higher. But again, we'll just have to see the first couple of days of September what happens.
Well, in either case, I'm going to be giving away silver all weekend, so I'll just have to deal with it. Although
buy it now, Chris, because the price is going to go up.
We're going to pre-stock the inventory. Although, Rob, one of the top questions, I'll bet you get this one a lot. I sure do. Mining stocks, nice to see some green here today. Although people, we talked about this at your conference, and perhaps to put in perspective, you see First Majestic there, 1185. What's our price of silver today? Would we have over $27? So
yeah,
I got my chart here. This green line points out, if you go to the end of last year, silver was $18. First Majestic was $12.41. And now silver is $9 higher. First Majestic's actually down on the year. And I know a lot of people are wondering about that. I wonder if some of that, there is a large short position on First Majestic.
Yes.
So that could be factoring in. But what do you think, Rob?
There's two companies that are extremely highly levered to the price of silver. That's Impact Silver and First Majestic. Impact's a junior and First Majestic's more of a major level producer. First Majestic is that stock in which when you see it pop, a lot of people are going to come into the silver trade. That's their proxy. And they may come in on the stock side, or they may come in the SLV ETF, and they might buy physical silver. So yeah, I understand there's a lot of physical shorting on First Majestic. Maybe that the intent is, to keep the silver price lower. That's one way to do it, is to short, one of the preeminent stocks in the space. Whether that's going on, I don't know. I think it's a foolish bet because silver is going to continue to go up and First Majestic is going to continue to make money. So I wouldn't count on that price staying low for long. If anything, it's a bargain right now for people to buy it. This is a perfect time to take a position in First Majestic. The price is ridiculous. It's a great company. They've implemented so many technology improvements over the last 2 years. I've written about this several times. They're a Cadillac company in the silver space. CEO is a great guy, a lot of respect for him and what they do. They've got great projects in Mexico for their silver, great relationship with the government. There's absolutely no reason for people to be shorting First Majestic right now. I think it's absolutely silly. As soon as silver hit $20 and up, First Majestic was just printing money. So when their next quarter report comes out, they're going to show a nice profit. I mean, the shorts are going to lose their pants on that one. I just don't understand that trade. So this is a buying opportunity in First Majestic, I think, as well as Impact Silver.
Well, you know where I stand on that one. And Rob, it was interesting because last week we found one of the world's largest investors, for some reason, bought a company that produces useless, barbarous relics.
Mm-hmm.
Although the market value on this appears to be soaring recently. So, any thoughts on why he would do that? I mean, especially now while the price is higher,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think you would buy Barrick unless you think it's going to continue to go higher in the gold price.
Mm-hmm.
And we know he bought large chunks of silver, more than the Hunt brothers. I don't know if both times it was more than the Hunt brothers, but there were 2 occasions where he had large silver purchases. Wow, wouldn't that be great if he's like, wow, at First Majestic Impact, I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could he turn to silver stocks?
You know, absolutely. He's a value investor. That's his philosophy. He's got to be chomping his bit at the precious metals miners now. The miners have not popped as much as the actual commodities prices. I think there's some lack of belief about the gold and silver price. But there's a lot of uncertainty. You got an election coming up. You've had the economic issues we've had with the virus. You've got a lot of things in 2020 that people really aren't sure how to play it. And so I don't think a lot of that speculative money is coming in the mining sector right now. We've seen some investment, not a lot. You know, again, it's a buying opportunity. You know, in terms of, it's one of those cases of do as I say, not as I do. It's funny, you keep seeing these companies like Goldman, these large investors come out saying, you know, don't buy gold, don't buy silver, it's not a good bet. And then they turn around, they're buying hand over fist. Goldman's doing it in the futures market, and you have these big name investors, you know, outright buying companies. So, you know, maybe they're disparaging the price and they can pick it up cheaper. I don't know. But you have to watch what they're doing, not what they're saying. And when you see these big, you know, well-run banks that certainly know what the hell they're doing, make tons of money on the market, and you see these big name investors come into the sector, they're positioning themselves for what they think is going to be the big pop. And I think they see what I just said. They saw that the mining stocks haven't popped the way the commodities have, but they see all this uncertainty coming down the pike, and they know that there's going to be additional flight to safety. So they're positioning themselves in companies in which they feel there's enough liquidity. So certainly, you know, you're investing in a Barrick and Newmont, you're a big investor, and you need a company that's very liquid so you can get into that stock. So you position, you're in that stock for how many ever months, and then you're going to get out of it. But yeah, I think more investors are going to start coming into the Impact Silvers, the First Majestics, the Silvercrest, the Mag Silver. That's going to happen as well. Again, silver always lags gold. You're going to see the investment in the gold companies first, then you're going to see it in the silver companies. So I expect that to start occurring, you know, as we get to the presidential election, you know, as we get to the end of the year and these futures markets, trades, you know, start deciding which way the gold and silver price are going to come. That's going to convince people where gold and silver are going. They're going to start hitting the stock. So I think we'll see that in the fourth quarter of this year. You see a lot of investment starting to come in these stocks. And again, the big names are already positioning themselves. So if you're a retail investor and you're looking at this, you know, do what the smart money is doing. Follow the smart money. I don't think you can lose.
Yeah, and Rob, you mentioned Silvercrest there. They had some results recently. This was from last week, but obviously a company that I think folks would be well served to be keeping an eye on, and perhaps you could share any thoughts you have on this.
So this is a company I met at VRIC in 2018 in the spring. And then a couple months later, we went out and did a site tour out in their Mexico Las Chispas property. Flew down, a lot of big mortgage banks out there assessing that property for the buy side, a lot of metallurgists and geologists down there. So I went down there to pick their brain as much as I did wanted to see the project. We crawled around the underground mines. We saw the entire district. I looked at their geographic information system where it's a 3D map of their drilling results and their resource. And I knew back then, this was when Silvercrest was $1.50, $1.60. And I knew right then it was going to be a smash, because I had dinner one night with one of the geologists, and I kind of separated him from the group. And I said, let's talk about this investment. And, you know, Silvercrest was estimating 180 to 100 million to build a mine. He said, that's right on target. And he said, they're just going to print money, and they haven't even drilled out the full Babicanora vein. The announcement you have up here is a ridiculous finding. It does not surprise me because Babicanora has had many bonanza level findings, but we're talking 635 grams per ton gold and 26,000 grams per ton silver. I mean, that is just ridiculous. We have not seen those types of drill results in decades on projects. And Silvercrest just, they have hit the mother lode on this one, and it's not stopping. This thing keeps running. They just keep drilling, and it gets better as they go into it. There's a lot of strike left, on this Babicanora vein, and they've identified a couple more veins that look like Babicanora. So it's looking like a district-sized type of find. And, don't sleep on this stock. I know the price is much more than it was when I started writing about 2 years ago. They're still undervalued. One, we have the silver price is not trading what it should be. I think it's, $40, $50 easily. If we get, a true market price for silver, that's going to add to the value of their entire deposit. But you've also got the fact that they just keep finding more and more. And they haven't even built their mine yet. We're not even talking about the bump that companies get from when they build their mine and the big money comes on and bids them up. I mean, there's 3 ways you can make money on Silvercrest. I cannot recommend them enough. And they don't pay me to say that, by the way. I just believe in that company. And I've seen their mine, I've seen their results, and I think it speaks for itself.
Well, Rob, I sure appreciate that. And we will be keeping an eye on Silvercrest going forward. And perhaps just wrapping up, you can let folks know where they can find you, how they can get access to your expertise of knowledge, which you've laid out here at the website.
Yes, just hit GoldSilverPros.com. You see there, you hit that newsletter button in the upper right-hand corner. It's free registration, where we do daily, weekly articles, as well as a quarterly newsletter. We're about to release our 3rd quarter newsletter here coming up in the next couple of weeks. And it's all free information for people. Of course, we have the YouTube channel as well, where I do a market analysis twice a week. We do interviews with other gold and silver experts. Again, free information for you guys to use as you build out your portfolios and learn about the sector. And again, of course, we'll be at your upcoming Silverfest conference. Very, very excited for that. So please tune into that. I know a lot of experts are coming to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm really looking forward to that experience. Yeah.
And Rob, I'm going to try to get to one of your videos. You're becoming quite the YouTube sensation here. A lot of gold and silver content. And I got a question for you. I mean, because it was similar as I started interviewing more people. One of the things that I think is interesting is from your perspective, both of what we're doing, you get to interact with a lot of people. You also hear what they say off camera, which not that it's usually contradictory, but sometimes they talk about different things. And I'm curious, like, what do you hear? Do you hear the people giving a counter argument to silver, or is it, and I'll pull up some of the folks you have on your show here, but what do you, from that perspective, what do you hear? I mean, is it, overstating the silver thing, or is it legit?
From some of the more technical people, the Chris Vermeulens, the Florian Grooms, they did expect a pullback in gold and silver a little bit from a technical perspective. They're technical traders, more than what we had. And I think they're probably a bit surprised at how well gold and silver have held up in this bull market. But no, pretty much everybody I interview expects gold and silver to do very well. David Morgan, you see I've interviewed there on the 2nd row, told me offline he wouldn't be surprised at $100 silver. He doesn't really want to call that publicly yet because we're not there, but it wouldn't surprise him if we hit $100. I agree with him on that, by the way. Rob Kirby certainly does. The Kirby Analytics newsletter is extremely bullish on both gold and silver. I haven't met anybody yet that I've interviewed that is bearish on silver whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, me either. It's like, I mean, I get it if someone's like, why is the guy always talking about silver? Although, I mean, it's not, and again, my own investment style from my own upbringing and then being on the trading floor, it's like I would find what makes sense and then spend the next decade trying to see where I could have missed. Mm-hmm. And anyway, that leads us here. Gold Silver Pros, the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button right there. Oh, there we go. Now I'm subscribed on 2 accounts. I was already a subscriber. I have Safari signed into different address, but I've been listening to a lot of your videos, Rob. It's really helpful, the guests you have on there, and getting some silver updates, which I love. So thank you as always for joining me, and we'll look forward to having you on again soon. And And it's always a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Look forward to your conference. Thanks for having me on, Chris.